Columbia University Super Spider. During a Columbia University science exhibition, 15 genetically engineered super spiders were on display. One escaped, crawled onto Peter Parker's hand, and delivered the bite that changed superhero movies forever. Unlike the original comics, this wasn't a radioactive accident. Scientists engineered it by combining traits from multiple spider species, powerful jumping muscles, lightning-fast nerve conduction, and microscopic wall-gripping ability packed into one creature. The transformation hit overnight. Stronger muscles, perfect eyesight, wall crawling that worked instinctively from day one. But the most unexpected change was the webbing. Organic web glands developed inside his forearms, living tissue producing real silk, firing from his wrists without any mechanical device. The train scene in Spider-Man 2 captures it best. Peter holds an entire runaway train to a dead stop using nothing but web lines in his own body. No other live-action Spider-Man ever developed organic webbing naturally. That single trait separates this version from everything that followed. The next spider came from a laboratory too, but with a far more personal secret encoded inside its DNA. Web Oscorp Spider. Inside Oscorp Industries, Richard Parker and Dr. Kurt Connors were running cross-species genetics research. Richard secretly embedded his own DNA into the project as a genetic safeguard, meaning the experiment was intended to work only with his own bloodline. While sneaking through Oscorp's laboratory, one enhanced spider escaped and bit him on the neck. The next morning, strength, balance, speed, and spider sense all activated simultaneously. This Peter never developed organic webs. Instead, he built mechanical web shooters using Oscorp's experimental biocable technology, rated at 10 times the strength of steel. The transformation played out in memorable chaos. Peter destroying a basketball hoop with one throw, then terrifying a subway car when wall crawling activated without warning. The unique feature, Richard Parker's genetic safeguards made Peter uniquely compatible with the experiment's effects, a connection built into the research long before Peter entered Oscorp. The next spider bit its host decades earlier, on television, not film. 1977, Radioactiv Spider. Nicholas Hammond became television's first live-action Spider-Man with an origin close to Marvel's earliest comics. Peter Parker was a college student when one of his experimental spiders was accidentally exposed to radiation during laboratory work. One mistake transformed an ordinary spider into something that changed his future completely. The bite followed shortly after. Strength increased dramatically. Reflexes sharpened. Wall crawling became instinctive. No organic webbing. This Peter relied on homemade web shooters and custom fluid, highlighting his intelligence as much as his physical transformation. The series showcased climbing sequences and agile movement faithful to the original comic spirit, despite a limited budget. The unique feature is simplicity itself. No corporate conspiracy, no alien involvement, no genetic engineering. Just one laboratory accident and one spider in the wrong place at the right moment. The next spider's host remains one of the MCU's biggest unsolved mysteries. MCU Spider. Tom Holland. Tom Holland's Spider-Man has appeared across multiple Marvel films, and audiences have never once seen the spider that created him. Marvel deliberately skipped the origin. The MCU only confirms Peter was bitten sometime before Captain America: Civil War. Everything else, the spider's origin, the organization behind it, how it happened, remains officially unanswered. Oscorp doesn't exist in this universe. What Peter can do is clear even without knowing the source. Incredible strength, wall crawling, enhanced reflexes, and the spider sense he calls his Peter Tingle. His mechanical web shooters handle the rest, demonstrated in the airport battle in Civil War and the ferry rescue in Homecoming, where Peter holds a splitting vessel together with web lines while Iron Man's drones arrive to stabilize it before the hull gives way. The unique feature is the mystery itself. No other Spider-Man in any universe has an origin this deliberately hidden from the audience. The next spider didn't come from Earth at all. Gaia, Japanese Spider-Man. Takuya Yamashiro's powers didn't come from a laboratory or radioactive accident. They came from Gaia, an alien warrior from planet Spider fighting the Iron Cross army on Earth. Mortally wounded, Gaia saved Takuya by passing his spider-powered life force directly to him and giving him the spider bracelet, a device that became his transformation tool and primary equipment. Injuries healed instantly. Strength, speed, wall crawling, and a telepathic bond with Gaia all activated immediately. The spider bracelet also allowed Takuya to summon the giant robot Leopardon whenever threats exceeded one person's ability to handle. The unique feature is the source. Every other spider on this list came from Earth. This one carried an alien warrior's life force instead of radiation or genetics. The next spider looked ordinary, until you noticed the number on its back. Alchemax Spider. Miles Morales. Spider 42 escaped Alchemax's genetic experiments and wandered into abandoned subway tunnels beneath Brooklyn. Miles Morales wandered in while spray painting with his uncle. The bite seemed harmless at first. Hours later, everything had changed. Miles developed strength, agility, reflexes, and spider sense, identical to Peter's version. But Spider-42 carried something extra. Miles could camouflage into near invisibility and unleash a bioelectric venom blast, electricity capable of disabling enemies far more powerful than himself. Both abilities appear as surprises in Into the Spider-Verse. His first accidental invisibility confuses everyone mid-conversation. His Venom Blast becomes the turning point against Kingpin, the moment Miles stops trying to be another Peter Parker. The unique feature, camouflage and bioelectric power in a single bite, neither of which Peter Parker ever received from any spider. The next spider bit someone Peter Parker would have recognized immediately: Spider-Gwen. On Earth 65, the radioactive spider didn't find Peter Parker. It found Gwen Stacy. The bite created the same overnight transformation. Incredible strength, agility, spider sense, and wall crawling nearly identical to Peter's version in other universes. But the aftermath was completely different. Peter wanted powers of his own and transformed himself into the lizard using unstable chemicals. During their battle, he died after reverting to normal. Gwen was left with guilt, responsibility, and a universe that blamed her for Peter's death. The unique feature is the emotional consequence. No other spider bite produced this specific combination of power and permanent tragedy alongside each other. The next spider came from something that had nothing to do with science: Spider-Noir. In the Spider-Man Noir comics, Peter Parker discovered a mysterious antique spider idol hidden inside a warehouse. When the relic shattered, strange spiders poured out. One bit him. That night, a spider god appeared in his dreams and completed a transformation that felt entirely supernatural. The result was Spider-Man Noir, built for the crime-filled streets of 1930s New York. Strength, speed, agility, and wall crawling arrived alongside a detective's mind. This Spider-Man hunted corrupt politicians and gangsters through investigation as much as physical ability. In Into the Spider-Verse, his comic's origin isn't explained on screen, but one moment captures it perfectly. He's fascinated by a Rubik's Cube because his monochrome world has never produced anything with multiple colors. The unique feature is the origin source. Science and genetics created every other Spider-Man here. Mysticism created this one. The next spider didn't bite a person at all. It formed a psychic bond instead. Peni Parker. Peni Parker didn't receive powers through a traditional bite. A radioactive spider genetically linked to the SP//DR system chose her, and the bite created a permanent psychic bond between pilot and spider, rather than a physical transformation. That bond allows both Peni and the spider to control SP//DR together as a shared consciousness. Without genuine trust between them, the robot cannot operate at full potential. Peni possesses spider sense and brilliant engineering intelligence, but her greatest ability is synchronization, matching her consciousness with the spiders during combat in real time. Her battles in Into the Spider-Verse play out like an anime sequence, with giant robotic attacks replacing traditional web swinging entirely. The unique feature is the bond itself. No other spider person shares ongoing consciousness with their spider. The bite created a permanent living partnership, not just a power transfer. The next spider didn't form a bond at all. It left a legacy. Ultimate Comics, Spider, Earth 1610. On Earth 1610, Oscorp and Norman Osborn genetically engineered a spider based on the original creature that gave Peter Parker his powers in the main Marvel universe. That spider bit Earth 1610's Peter Parker first, creating that universe's Spider-Man. But the spider survived. It escaped Oscorp's facility and eventually found its way into the abandoned Oscorp building where Miles Morales was visiting with his uncle. One bite, two Spider-Men. Same spider, same universe. No other spider in Marvel history created two separate Spider-Men across the same timeline. The Alchemax spider gave Miles unique powers Peter never had. This one gave Miles the same foundation because it had already done it once before. The unique feature is the legacy. This spider didn't just create a hero, it created two. The last spider on this list followed none of these rules because it didn't have to. Spider-Ham. Peter Parker didn't start as a human. He was originally an ordinary spider until a radioactive pig named May Parker accidentally bit him. Instead of becoming a superpowered pig, the spider transformed into an anthropomorphic pig with all the classic Spider-Man abilities, plus the complete physics of a cartoon universe on top. Spider-Ham climbs walls, swings across cities, and overpowers villains like every other version. But Toon Force adds something no laboratory spider ever could: surviving impossible impacts, producing oversized hammers from nowhere, shrugging off attacks that would destroy any other spider hero. In Into the Spider-Verse, he stands comfortably alongside darker heroes like Spider-Noir and Miles Morales, completely absurd and entirely serious about it simultaneously. The unique feature is the origin direction. Every other spider on this list bit its host and passed on powers. This spider got bitten and became the hero instead.